Hello and welcome to Lunchtime Politics, reaching you live from our global headquarters here in the nation's commercial nerve center, Lagos. I'm Jeffrey Uzama, bringing you up to speed with the big happenings in politics and in the polity. Suspended Governor of River State, Fubara, makes his first appearance, denies having links to militants in the Niger Delta, condemns circulation of what he describes as fabricated videos depicting explosions at oil and gas facilities. Nobel laureate Professor Soyinka faults President Tinubu's suspension of elected Rivers officials, describes action as excessive. About a dozen inmates escaping an early morning jailbreak at the Federal Correctional Center in Kogi, Kogi State. Thanks again for joining us on the program as we bring you up to speed with happenings in politics and in the polity at midday right here on the program. Let's begin with River State, where the governor has refuted allegations linking him to militant groups, dismissing recent social media posts and videos as fake and malicious attempts to incite tensions in the state. In a statement by his Chief Press Secretary Nelson Chukwude, the governor condemned the circulation of the fabricated videos purportedly depicting explosion at oil and gas facilities in the state. Those were their words. The statement clarified that affected communities have debunked the claims, assuring that all critical infrastructure remains intact and operational. Governor Fubara says he's committed to maintaining peace in River State, emphasizing that governance and development can only thrive in a stable environment. He also warned against his attempt to exploit the state's ongoing political crisis for ulterior motives. Rivers has been in the news and it hasn't left just yet. Nobel laureate Professor Soyinka has actually faulted President Tinubu's declaration of a state of emergency in River State, describing it as excessive. Literally believes that there is a need to test the provision of Section 305 to ascertain the latitude of presidential discretion in emergency situations, especially the constitutional contention over suspension of elected officials, in this case, the governor, the deputy, and the House of Assembly. Professor Soyinka, who was guest on our program, The Morning Brief, says the action of the president takes Nigeria on a slippery slope. President Tinubu had declared emergency rule in the oil-rich state on Tuesday over a protracted political crisis in the state and appointed a sole administrator and got the approval of the National Assembly, a situation that received mixed reactions, with the NBA maintaining it doesn't have the constitutional powers to suspend elected officials.
And I think that the wholesale scuttling of the democratic existence in the rivers was excessive. I think it could have been managed much better, much more economically. I think the president did not sort of curb the extent. He didn't economize on his presidential emergency powers. There's an issue of the Constitution. Is the president's action constitutional? And I hope the affected politicians, governor and representatives, that they test this all the way up so that we get a clearer picture once and for all. Instead of running around in circles from regime to regime, it should be possible by now for one to be able to say confidently that this action is illegal, is unconstitutional, or otherwise. So for now, we can only leave it to the constitutional lawyers to guide us. Now, the next question is it politically wise? In my view, this takes us on a slippery slope. It's not what I would have liked to see happen right now with all our struggle to attain a federal structure. The spirit of it, in my view, is contrary to the spirit of federalism. Now, it's very carefully and deliberately, because this does not vitiate maybe the rightness of the action. it does not establish the wrongness. But with my commitment to a genuine federal structure, when an event like this happens, I say we're back on the slippery slope. And I hope that it is tested all the way, because as I've said, we've been through this before under different regimes. It's either we have a decentralized federalist structure, or we have a quasi-dictatorial, whimsical kind of government which just panders to the political leaning of whoever happens to be in charge at the moment. So that's my take on it. Obviously, I'm going to go deeper and find out just what on earth has been going on in the River State that led to this, what I consider an unfortunate step in our federalist journey.
All right, for context, he was speaking the excessive use, or where he referred to that, using that word, was actually talking about the suspension of the governor, the deputy, and the members of the State Assembly. Those were some of the things he was saying. It has to be tested so that this will be settled once and for all. I just need to bring clarity to what the Nobel laureate has been talking about when he used the word excessive. It has to do with especially the suspension element of the action of the president of suspending elected officials, which has become a huge subject of constitutional debate. All right, so days after that declaration of a state of emergency in Rivers State and the suspension of the governor, the deputy governor, and members of the assembly, Governor Fubara has made his first public appearance in the state. Governor Fubara was seen attending a church service at the headquarters of Salvation Ministries in Port Harcourt, the Rivers State capital. Governor Fubara was accompanied to the service by his Chief of Staff, Edison Ehie, the President General of Ayanese Ndibo Worldwide, John Azutambata, and the former Deputy National Chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Sam Jaja, among others. His appearance comes after speculations over his whereabouts after his suspension from office, which has sparked national debate. Governor Fubara appeared days after President Tinubu declared a state of emergency in Rivers State, citing escalating political tension and security concerns. The president also appointed retired Vice Admiral Ibokete Bass as the state administrator to oversee the state affairs for an initial period of 6 months. All right, just a moment, I'll bring in my guest to weigh in on a couple of issues of national interest. But let's tell you about 12 inmates have now been reported to have escaped in an early morning jailbreak at the Federal Correctional Center in Kotonkarafe, Kogi State. The Commissioner for Information in the state, Kingsley Fowler, described the incident as unfortunate and assured citizens that the government, working with security agencies, will take steps to prevent a recurrence. According to him, law enforcement agencies have rearrested one of the escapees. The Commissioner hints that Governor Usman Ododo has asked security agencies to ensure such security breaches do not happen again. And while the controversy over the declaration of a state of emergency in Rivers State continues, the All Progressives Congress, this time their caretaker committee in Benue, is raising alarm that the planned stakeholders meeting by the erstwhile Austin Agada-led State Working Committee is targeted at participating or precipitating political instability aimed at pushing for a state of emergency in the state. Chairman of the committee, Mr. Benjamin Omale, who says his mandate was renewed along with his State Working Committee at the last APC National Executive Committee meeting, raised alarm at the media briefing in Makurdi. He explains that the caretaker committee is a product of reconciliation by the National Working Committee of the party to resolve the leadership crisis that had rocked the party in the state.
Activities at the State Secretariat of the All Progressives Congress, located along J.S. Takar Way in Makurdi, picks up with supporters and stakeholders who regrouped in solidarity with the Benjamin Omale-led caretaker committee. The meeting is coming on the heels of the planned stakeholders meeting called by erstwhile chairman of the party, Mr. Austin Agada, for the same venue. The meeting, according to the caretaker committee chairman, is aimed at creating crisis to destabilize the state in order to create room for a state of emergency in Benue.
We call on members of the APC not to take any of their Austin Agada instruction serious. His intentions was meant to cause chaos in the state. Interestingly, the same Agada who was told by the FCT High Court in Abuja that there is no security in Benue State have moved to the court to obtain order of the tribunal should remain in Abuja, now wanting to hold a meeting in the same Benue where there is no security. What kind of confusion is this? What is the contradiction here? His only intention is to cause a breakdown of law and order in Benue State.
The secretary of the caretaker committee calls for unity to enable the party resolve the protracted intra-party crisis.
In our first term, when we came in at a period of crisis, it was our prayer and we hope that we're going to resolve all the crises within our first mandate. With this new mandate, we are hoping and praying that we'll be able to bring all APC members into fold as members of one APC family.
The party secretariat, Christine Bola Tinubu House, has been the battleground between the two sides as loyalists of Governor Hertzing Alian and the SGF, Mr. George Akume, have been at loggerhead over who controls the APC in Benue.
Let's tell you that Amnesty International has criticized what it describes as the Nigerian authorities' inaction on sexual harassment allegations against Senate President Godswill Akpabio. Human rights group is demanding an immediate, independent investigation, warning that failure to act will perpetuate a system of impunity and silence for survivors. Amnesty International says the National Assembly cannot continue to ignore or trivialize these serious claims. In the meantime, the National Coalition of Civil Society Organizations is asking Nigerians to support the leadership of the National Assembly led by Senator Godswill Akpabio. Speaking to journalists in Abuja after staging a peaceful protest, the national coordinator of the coalition, Comrade Adebayo Ogori, says the controversy surrounding the suspension of Senator Natasha Akpoti-Duahan is a needless one aimed at distracting the Senate.
The Senate must not bow to emotional blackmail or social media outrage fueled by false or half-truth narratives. Nigeria's democracy thrives when its institutions are strong, disciplined, and governed by rules, not when they are manipulated to serve personal or partisan interests. We must ensure that the principles of accountability, order, and respect remain the guiding forces of our legislative process. This is not about silencing anyone. It is about ensuring that the Senate remains a place of reasoned debates, not theatrical disruptions. We applaud Senator Godswill Akpabio and the Senate for upholding the principles of order, discipline, and respect for the institution. The Senate's decision to suspend Senator Akpoti-Duahan was a necessary measure to maintain the integrity and dignity of the legislative body.
We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue with the rest of the show. Join us again. Welcome back. Skirmishes between Bagir and Fulani people residing in Farintuse community of Nasarawa local government area of Nasarawa state have so far claimed 13 lives, with several persons injured and numerous property destroyed. The skirmishes erupted as a result of alleged destruction of farm crops belonging to the people in that area. Our correspondent Halima Gayam has this report.
Farindute, a community in Nasarawa local government area of Nasarawa state, inhabited by the Bagi and Fulani people as well as other tribes, is now a fragment of its former self after an inter-ethnic clash. The Hifeto farming community is deserted as the people have fled their homes over fear of reprisal attacks. The situation is as a result of skirmishes between the two tribes, which has claimed several lives, with numerous houses and other properties destroyed in 8 affected communities. The conflict, according to some affected residents, is due to the destruction of farm crops belonging to the Gbagi people.
We heard that a Fulani man was cutting mango. So when our boy closed from church, he went to village to go and remove the mango. So he now found a Fulani man cutting mango for his cows to eat. So when the boy now talk, after he was turning back, the Fulani man now caught him and killed him. We went to their place, we didn't find anybody. So our boys, because of hunger, they now decided to burn their ruga.
An initial intervention by security agencies made no impact, as residents claim a retaliatory attack amplified the situation. The lawmaker representing the people at the upper chamber of the National Assembly visits the area to ascertain the level of destruction and offer preliminary support.
I have come to commiserate with the people and also draw their attentions to the fact that we don't need this. Violence, crisis, all do not bring development.
During an executive council meeting, Governor Abdullahi Sule enumerates government's action on the matter.
Very unfortunate, but the local government chairman and other stakeholders of the local government, as well as the security agencies, have been very kind and up to us, and we want to sincerely thank them for everything and condole the families of the victims. Those that are responsible for the killings have been identified and arrested, and then justice will be followed thereafter.
As the call to restore peace heightens, the people want a truce as well as government support to bounce back.
The Fulani and the Gbagi people and other tribes around here are calling us to coexist peacefully, because when there is peace, there is prosperity. And where there is no peace, there is no prosperity. And by the grace of God, we will do our best to see how we restore understanding, harmony, and prosperity.
For now, the people are at ease and are taking refuge in neighboring communities, but as they count their losses, they anticipate government's intervention to restore normalcy in addition to preventing further escalation. Halima Gayam, Channels Television News.
Welcome back. Let's bring in our guest to speak. So a couple of issues, and they are all tied around the People's Democratic Party. So a bit of a background. The Supreme Court has given judgment as to who is the quote-unquote authentic secretary of the party, national secretary. That has been under contention for a bit. But there are different interpretations. We haven't seen the CTC. So when we see the CTC, we'll be able to establish, in fact, what this controversy is really all about. Then the issue in Rivers State is, on the other hand, it's about PDP as well, because it's an internal party issue. And then we can go to what's playing out in Osho. So a couple of other things, but let's stay with the PDP National. We're joined in the program by Mr. Rahman Owokoniro, is the Southwest PDP Secretary in the Southwest Zone. Mr. Rahman, thank you so much for coming on the program. Within the short time we have, let's see what we can make out of what is playing out. But let me ask you, what do you make out of this multiple interpretation of the PDP National Secretary position? The Supreme Court has given a judgment. We saw Debo Olowo-Agba releasing a statement that it affirmed the position of Udo Okoye. We saw the Deputy National Publicity Secretary say, no, Debo was on his own. Under the directive of Mr. Damagun, the acting national chairman, is actually Sam Ayanwo. What exactly is going on with your party?
Well, I thank you so much for inviting me to the program. Well, the party is going through a phase, and I'm sure we'll soon get over this. We know that some individuals are trying to destroy the party from within. They have actually moved into APC, and they are working as seriously for the president, and they continue to claim that they are still in PDP. That is what you see playing out there. Otherwise, it's a very simple thing. We didn't need the Supreme Court to pronounce that judgment that it is the responsibility of the party to decide who they have appointed or elected as a secretary. So the it is the responsibility of the NWC and the NEC, that is National Working Committee, and the National Executive Committee, to vote and take a decision. And that decision is the final until we go to convention for ratification. That's what our constitution says. Why can't people live by that? But immediately a decision is taken, you have all these people who are not interested in the goodness or the progress of the party. They run to the court to file a case and then delay unnecessarily what should have been an easy thing, an easy decision to take. So on that issue, as far as I know, the National Secretary is already working because that decision had been taken by the NWC some time ago, and he's been working. The governors have endorsed it. All the governors have endorsed it. The NEC have endorsed it. So it is not the decision of the ruling party the other day that will make that decision. That decision has been taken. The constitution, the court was merely endorsing what has been done, that it is the right of the party to take its own decision. It is not that after the court will now go back and start obeying the court is not to decide.
So let's sort of, for the benefit of the audience, I've seen CTCs from the Supreme Court, and the party, in fact, there's issue of River State. One of the things that the judgment said, either the contributory judgment or the lead judgment, especially the contributory judgment, was saying that, I think the lead judgment now, saying that issues of leadership and membership is exclusive preserve of the party. But
please, this here.
If issues of leadership and membership of the party is the exclusive preserve, quote and unquote, of the party. But I listened to Segun Sowunmi, who is one of the leaders of your party, a strong voice in the party, saying that he was in court. And the justices said that Mr. Sam Anyanwu's, these were his words, the justice, because we haven't seen the CTC, so I'm just saying what is out there, that the justices said the appeal succeeded. That simply means that maybe the appeal had merit, and the relief were granted. So, but he also said that, yes, the justices also said that the party has a responsibility to decide whatever it is they want to decide. But given the appeal that was filed before them, he said from their mouth to his listening ears, the appeal succeeded. So will Mr. Anyanwu be wrong to have assumed that he won?
Of course, the decision of the Supreme Court was that it is the party that will take that decision. That's what the Supreme Court said. The appeals, I don't know why.
Okay. Mr. Rahman, were you in court? Because I haven't seen a consequential order. Were you in court? Where are you speaking from? Where do you have this information from?
I'm speaking from what the party said.
Okay.
At the national, yeah, the party at the national. By the way, Olugbagba is the national policy secretary, and he's also a lawyer. He's a lawyer.
But
so
there was another release by his deputy saying that they should discountenance his position, and he was writing on behalf of the.
The secretary there said he did not write anything like that. The secretary has denounced that position.
Which secretary?
No. That is the Deputy National Publicity Secretary. Deputy National.
He said he did not write anything like that.
He said he didn't. He said it wasn't. A lot of plans should be going on. These people are determined to disrupt and destroy, and they will continue to create confusion. But the party is moving on as we speak.
There is something. So first, I want to ask you. When you say people are working for the APC from inside out in your party, who are these moles in your party? Why is it difficult for your party to sanitize itself? Borrowing the words of Senator Magnus Abe, he said there was enough anti-party to go around in the last election, across board, open, barefaced, I don't care what you want to do kind of anti-party. But the party has not been able to come together. The party, for instance, Mr. Showumi said the party has lost a president before, maybe to the hands of cold hands of death. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo has also left the party. The party did not collapse. So, who are you calling these moles? Why is it difficult to deal with these moles and get the party on a steady path?
Well, look, over the period of time since the last election, the party leadership has been trying to manage these people, particularly the head of the head of these people that we talk about is Nelson Wike. That's the head. Yes.
So why is if you say that Nelson Wike is a problem, why is it hard to sack him from your party if you have a strong reason?
It is not hard. It is not hard to sack. Nobody is bigger than the party. The only problem, the challenge the party had is there is a person who have lived together with them for decades, and the party got him to where he is, and they will continue to believe that he can be spoken to. They can find peace somewhere along the way. But it is becoming clearer to them that this man is not going to yield, to their request. Therefore, at this point in time, as far as I'm concerned, I believe they should be now ready to confront the evil.
All right, Mr. Rahman, apparently it's an ongoing conversation, and we'll keep tab on it to find a closure, some level of closure. We hope that we can get the CTC so that at least when we see it, we'll be able to tell exactly what this means. Because right now, is hearsay about what this means. Rahman Owokoniran is the Southwest Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, the Southwest Zone of the party. Thank you, sir, for coming on the program.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And that's it on the program. Thank you so much for your time and company. I'm Jeffrey Uzanga. Bye-bye.